Well, we're just about at the Civic Long weekend here in Ontario, and I wanted to do a news video yesterday because there was one signing that kind of rocked the boat a bit among Ontario Hockey League fans. So we'll get to that. But first, a big signing announcement for Ben Danford. He has signed his NHL entry level contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is exciting news because for Danford, selected at the end of the first round. Caught a few people by surprise, but for Danford, a pretty solid defenseman on that Oshawa Generals group that went all the way to the OHL final last season. And just another sign that I think this Oshawa Generals team looking to be pretty solid again going into next season. When you consider Beckett Seneca also being selected in the first round, third overall by the Anaheim Ducks. But for Danford, he recorded 33 points last season, 1 goal, 32 assists. So he's really capable in the back end, more of a defensive defenseman than putting up the points. He does have a really good shot. Maybe we'll see that a little bit more next season. But I like this signing if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan because defense is a thing that the Leafs are looking towards for the future. And I think Ben Danford brings that. During the postseason, when it was Oshawa against the Barrie Colts, Treleving, the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, appeared at a few Generals games. We saw him there when it was Barrie versus Oshawa in the first round. So he was able to get a good look at Ben Danford, obviously liked what he sees, and selected him in the 31st overall in the NHL draft. So it's really great to see. So a big congratulations to Ben Danford. I expect him to be with the Oshawa Generals next season, but he will go to the rookie camp. Maybe go to main camp with the Toronto Maple Leafs before returning to Oshawa, but still, it's a good sign. Plenty of players from the OHL who were selected in the first round have already signed their NHL entry-level contracts. I already mentioned Beckett Seneca. You also got Zane Parekh and Sam Dickinson. So it's really good to see the OHL being well represented at the National Hockey League level, and it's going to be great to see where their careers go from here. So again, congratulations to Ben Danford. And a signing that kind of riled up junior hockey fans, and of course it involves the London Knights. It seems as though whenever the London Knights make a signing, fans outside of London kind of grumble a little bit, and that's because they've signed 2008-born forward Logan Hawery to his OHL scholarship and development agreement. Hawery was selected 20th overall, so the final pick in the first round. He is a Barrie native. He played with the Barrie Junior Colts last season. Actually had a pretty good year, 55 points, 27 goals, 28 assists in 31 games before registering 29 points in 10 playoff games. And that was a Barrie Colts team that was pretty strong. They brought in a lot of talent going into last season for their deep run. And Hawery kind of benefiting from just the talent he was able to play with. According to some of the reports, he didn't want to speak to any other OHL team heading into the draft. I can't confirm it. I haven't heard specifically if that's the case, but that's what many are suggesting. And because of that, fans getting a little upset that he basically decided that it was the London Knights or NCAA route. He did have his options at the USHL level, but he decided to announce that he was going to commit to the London Knights. And I think I see where fans are coming from because we've seen this in the past with the London Knights organization where a player says that he would only report to London. But still, what is it with the London Knights that teams around the Ontario Hockey League can adapt so they can be the teams that players want to go to, or do teams take that risk even though it might seem that player only wants to go to a specific team? We saw that with Colin Fitzgerald when he was selected third overall by the Peterborough Petes. He signed with the Green Bay Gamblers of the USHL, and it seemed as though he would not be reporting to the Ontario Hockey League. But the Peterborough Petes, they took that risk, and Colin Fitzgerald has decided he's going to play for the Petes this upcoming season. Mind you, he is a Peterborough native, but still, the Petes deciding to take that risk despite that signing. Another risk, of course, was Malhotra being selected by the Kingston Frontenacs. He said he was exploring all of his options, ended up signing with the BCHL, the Chilliwack Chiefs. But it's great to see teams taking the risk, but that's where the risk can also bite back if that player decides not to report. They do have measures in place where if a player decides to not report, or they trade that player to another team, then they could get another first round pick the following year. But still, it's that's the one tricky thing about junior hockey is obviously players have a team that they would prefer to go to, and then when it seems to be the same team year in year out, fans they do get a little frustrated and kind of annoyed with the situation. But this is where Hawery ended up being drafted by the London Knights, and he's decided that he will in fact bring his services to London. And of course, London, the defending OHL champs, they look like they're going to be another competitive team again in the upcoming 2024-25 OHL season. But we saw what happened in the Memorial Cup final. They ended up losing to the Saginaw Spirit. So this is a Knights organization that, yes, they've got a lot of depth. They should be a solid group again going into next season, but they're gonna be focused. This is Dale Hunter, the head coach, usually has his team dialed in, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Western Conference will shape up. In the coming weeks, I'll do a bit of a preview video looking at each division and the teams that are likely to contend in the upcoming 24-25 season. And lastly, there was another signing, this time with the Owen Sound Attack. They have announced that they've signed import draft selection Max Bleicher. And for Bletcher, he's from Germany. And the other day when I did the report on the Hlinka Gretzky tournament, Bletcher was named one of the players to go to represent Team Germany at that tournament, which gets underway on August the 5th. So he's going to be, I think he's going to get the ice time that he's looking for playing with the Owen Sound Attack. This is a team that I think is looking to maybe retool a bit after a couple disappointing seasons. But he's going to get his ice time. He's going to get his opportunities with the Owen Sound Attack. But still, great to see him get selected. He was picked in the first round, 20th overall in the CHL import draft. So we'll see what Bleicher is able to do when he does join the Owen Sound Attack in time for training camp, which is at the end of this month. We're only about, I think it's 3.5 weeks until players start to report to training camp, and then we get the preseason underway, and then the OHL regular season at the end of September. So the season, it's coming up quick, and it's always an exciting time of year when we wait to see what kind of moves are going to be made, because the trade opportunities are back as teams try and get their rosters figured out in time for the training camp and the upcoming regular season. So that's how I see it from the booth. I know this is a pretty quick news video, but let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on the signings, maybe your opinion or your take on the London Knights. Do you think it's fair that the London Knights kind of have this advantage as opposed to the other 19 teams in the Ontario Hockey League? Or do you think the system is fine the way it is? Love to see the interactions. Thank you very much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and we'll talk to you again soon.